everyone. Welcome to Ridgetop Yoga Retreat. If you're just joining in, get into a comfortable position and we'll get started in a few minutes. And just begin to calm your mind and relax your body. Focusing on your breath. Taking deep inhales in through your nose and exhaling out through your nose. Letting go of any thoughts that enter your mind and just bring your focus back to your breath. Remember, this is your practice, so do what feels right for you today. Every day is different. If a pose doesn't feel right, just come out of the pose and wait for the next one. Just begin to calm your mind. Relax your shoulders. Bring your shoulder blades back and down. Relax your arms, your back, your hips. Relax your legs all the way down to your feet. Taking a deep inhale in through your nose and slowly exhaling out through your nose. A deep inhale in through your nose and slowly exhaling out through your nose. Continue this breath and just bring in relaxation into your body. If it's uncomfortable sitting in an easy seat, you can always fold up a blanket and place it under you to lift your hips up to be able to sit comfortably in an easy seat. If that's uncomfortable, you can have your legs out in front of you, or you can sit in hero pose where you're sitting on your heels with your legs bent. You just want to be comfortable and just focus on your breath. And we're going to take 3 deep inhales in through our nose and slowly exhale out through your mouth. So take a deep inhale, filling your lungs up with air, and hold. And slowly exhale out through your mouth. Another deep inhale in through your nose. Hold. And slowly exhale out through your mouth, emptying your lungs completely. And one more deep inhale in through your nose. And hold. And slowly exhale out through your mouth. And we're going to go back to our regular breath. And we're going to get started on our backs. So you're going to come flat on your back. Have your legs long on the mat. Your arms beside you, shoulder blades tucked under. And take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead, elongating the spine, reaching out through your fingertips, and keeping your feet flexed, engaging your legs for a full body stretch. And then exhale, slowly relax everything and bring your arms back down by your side. Inhale, reach your arms back overhead, reaching out through your fingertips, pushing out through your heels for a full body stretch. Lengthening the spine. And exhale, slowly release your arms back by your side. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead for a full body stretch. Everything is engaged here. Pulling your abdomen in. And on the exhale, just bring your right knee in towards your chest, hugging that knee in towards your chest. Then inhale, straighten that leg out, reach your arms up overhead. And on the exhale, hug the left knee in towards your chest, feeling the stretch in the inner thighs. Inhale, lengthen the left leg, reach your arms up overhead. And exhale, hug both knees into your chest. Take a few breaths here. You can rock from side to side, massaging that low back. Then placing your hands on your knees, keeping your feet together, make circles with your knees, opening up the knees to the sides and bringing them around, out, and then bring your knees in towards your chest, bring them out to the sides, and then forward and together, bringing them in towards your chest, extending the knees out, making a circle, bringing them out, together, and then in towards your chest. Do 2 more circles, loosening up those hips. And then go in the opposite direction. Your knees are out, open them to the sides, bring them in towards your chest, and then together. Away from the body, open the knees, bring them around towards your chest and together. Then hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. Then place your hands on your right knee, hugging that knee in towards your chest. Extend that left leg up towards the sky. You can point and flex your foot, getting movement into the ankle, into the calf. Then keeping your left foot flexed, draw a line down towards the mat, but keep your leg about 6 inches from the mat. You're engaging your core here, your leg is engaged, your foot is flexed. You're hugging that right knee in towards your chest, and that right foot is also flexed. Using your core to hold that left leg up. Take a few deep breaths here. And then slowly lower your left leg down to the mat. Extend your right arm out to the side. And bring your left hand to the outside of your right knee. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, begin to bring that right knee across your body, rolling onto your left hip, keeping your shoulder blades flat on the mat, and taking your gaze over your right hand. Take a few deep breaths here, feeling the stretch in that right hip. Shoulder blades flat on the mat, looking over your right hand, rolling onto the left hip, bringing that right knee across the body. Then come back up to center. Hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. And then come to stillness. Place your hands on your left knee, hugging that knee in towards your chest. Extend your right foot up towards the sky. Point and flex your right foot. Working the foot, the ankle, the calf. Then keeping that right foot flexed, draw a line down towards the mat with your heel. And let that right leg hover about 6 inches off the mat. Using your core, your foot is flexed, both feet are flexed, and you're hugging that left knee in towards your chest. Take a few deep breaths here. Then slowly lower that right leg down towards the mat. Extend your left arm out to the side. Place your right hand on the outside of that left knee. Take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, bring that left knee across your body, rolling onto your right hip. Taking your gaze over your left hand, keeping your shoulder blades flat on the mat. Then slowly come back up to center. Hug your knees into your chest. And rock from side to side. Then slowly extend both feet up towards the sky. Place your palms flat on the mat beside you. Point and flex your feet. Her legs up the wall. This is an inversion, which is really good to get the blood and oxygen back to the brain. So to do inversions every day is really good to get the blood flowing in the opposite direction. And then keeping your feet flexed, slowly lower your heels down towards the mat, engaging your core here. And let your legs hover about 6 inches off the mat, engaging your core. And then slowly lower your legs down to the mat. Now we're just going to shift our hips to the right. And bring your arms up overhead, interlacing your fingers. Keeping your pointer fingers out. Your arms are by your ears. We're going to walk our feet to the left of the mat, and then bring our arms, our hands towards the left of the mat. You're going to be in a crescent moon shape. You can bring that right ankle over that left ankle to feel the stretch in that right hip. You're feeling the stretch up the right side of the body. Really trying to breathe into that right hip, releasing any tension in that hip. Then release that right foot back down to the mat. Walk your feet back to center, hands back to center. Bring your hips back to center. Now shift your hips to the left side, and then walk your feet to the right corner of the mat. You can place that left ankle over that right ankle to increase the stretch, and then bring your hands towards the right corner of the mat. You're in a crescent moon shape. You're feeling the stretch in that left hip. Take a few deep breaths here. Then release your left foot down to the mat. Walk your feet back to center. Hands back to center. Shift your hips back. And then slowly hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. Now you can either rock onto your side to get up to seated, or you can rock forward and back using your core and momentum and rock up to seated position. Now sitting in the easy seat, take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And on the exhale, bring your left hand down to the mat and that right arm over that right ear, reaching towards the left, feeling the stretch in that right hip. Take a few deep breaths here. That right arm is, you have a flat back, your right arm is stacked over that right ear. You can have a slight bend in your left arm to get you further into the stretch. Make sure your sit bones don't lift up off the mat. And feel the stretch up the right side of the body. Then using your core, inhale back up to center. And on the exhale, bring that right hand down to the mat next to you. Left arm is over that left ear, reaching towards the right, keeping that left sit bone grounded. Take a few deep breaths here. You don't want to turn towards that right hand. You want a flat back and feeling the stretch through that left side. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead, and exhale, release your arms by your side. Now we're going to extend our legs out long on the mat. For staff pose, your feet are flexed, slight bending your knees, palms down on the mat, flat on the mat beside you. You're really grounding down through your sit bones, reaching out through the crown of your head. Everything is engaged here, so your feet are flexed, your legs are engaged, you're pressing your palms into the mat, reaching out through the crown of your head. Take a few deep breaths here. And then slowly relax your body. Release everything. Bring that right knee in towards your chest. You can leave it here or cross it over that left leg, straight leg. Your left foot is flexed. Bring your left arm around that right knee, hugging it into your chest. Right hand goes behind your right glute. Take a deep inhale, lengthen the spine. And on the exhale, begin to twist to your right, looking over that right shoulder. Take a few deep breaths here. With each inhale and exhale, see if you can get a little bit deeper into the twist. You're twisting from the rib cage, not just the neck. Then come back to center. Release the twist. Straighten that right leg out. Bring that left knee in towards your chest. You can leave it here, or if you want more of a stretch in your hip, you can cross it over that straight leg. Wrap your right arm around that left knee. Left hand goes behind your left glute. Take a deep inhale, lengthen your spine, and on the exhale, twist looking over that left shoulder. Take a few deep breaths here. Then release the twist, come back to center. Straighten that left leg out. Now we're going to just grab our big toe, our right toe, with our right hand. Your knee is bent in towards your chest. See if your left hand is flat on the mat beside you. See if you can press your foot into your hand, straightening that right leg out in front of you. Pressing into that hand, see if you can just move that right leg, getting movement in that right hip out to the side. And bring it back to center. And just bring it out to the side. Just do what's comfortable for you, pressing that foot into that hand. And then come back to center. And one more. Opening that right hip. And then come back to center. Bend the knee in. Release your hand and straighten that right leg out. Place your right hand next to you on the mat. Place your hand, take your left knee, bend it in, and just grab your big toes on that left foot. Pressing your foot into that left hand, see if you can straighten that left leg out in front of you. And then just gently bring that left leg out to the side, opening that left hip, and then bring it back to center. Inhaling, opening up that left hip, and exhaling, bringing it back to center. Pressing into that left hand, trying to keep that left leg straight, opening the left hip, and bringing it back to center. And one more inhale, and exhale. And bend the knee, release your hand. And we're going to bring the soles of our feet together for a bound angle pose. Just opening up your arches, rolling the arches up, out, keeping the feet together. If it's too much on your knees, you can bring your feet away from the body a little more. Or if your knees are fine, you can bring your feet in towards your body. And just gently butterfly your knees out to the sides, opening up the hips, getting movement into the hips. And then come to stillness and place your hands either on your ankles or on your toes. Take a deep inhale, lengthen your spine, and on the exhale, just begin to hinge forward from your hips, keeping a flat back. You'll feel the stretch in the inner thighs. You're not trying to get all the way down to the floor. You're just trying to lengthen your spine here and reach out through the crown of your head. If you get halfway, stop there and pull your belly button in, engaging your core, and really try to reach out through the crown of your head. Take a few deep breaths here. Then slowly come back up to center and bring your knees in. And we're going to go onto all fours. So we're going to go into tabletop. Make sure that your shoulders are over your wrists and your hips are over your knees. The tops of your feet are flat on the mat. We're going to do a few rounds of cat-cow. So on the inhale for cow, drop your belly, take your gaze up, pelvis tilted up. And then on the exhale, tuck your chin towards your chest and round your spine. You're really trying to create space between you and the mat for cat. And for cow, drop your belly, take your gaze up, opening your chest, lifting your heart. We'll do 2 rounds and then we'll meet back in tabletop. Inhale, drop your belly, take your gaze up. And exhale, tuck your chin and round your spine. Now from tabletop, we're just going to shift our hips to the right and take your gaze over your left shoulder, feeling the stretch in that right hip. And then slowly shift your hips to the left and take your gaze over the right shoulder. Come back to center, and we're just going to go into child's pose. So your big toes overlap, your knees are wider than hip distance apart. Shift your hips back towards your feet and just slowly lower your torso between your knees. Your arms are out in front of you, your forehead is on the mat, and just bring your focus back to your breath. If a pose doesn't feel right, you can always come into child's pose and just focus on your breathing. And then we'll come back up to tabletop. And we're going to extend our right leg back and cross it over our left. So we're going to go on to the ball of our right foot. Spread your toes and then just look over your left shoulder at your toes on the right foot. You're pressing through the ball of that foot and you're feeling the stretch in that right hip. Bring that right leg back and bring your right knee to your right elbow. and place it on the mat. Your right knee on the mat. Inhale, extend that left foot back. Cross it over your right. Going on to the ball of that left foot. Take your gaze over your right shoulder to look at your toes on the left foot. You're pressing through that ball. You're feeling the stretch in that left hip. Then raise that left foot up. Bring your leg back to center. Bring your left knee in towards your left elbow, and then place it back down to the mat. Now we're going to get ready to go into our first downward facing dog. So we're going to flip our toes and just hover your knees about 6 inches off the mat. Engaging your thighs here, engage your core. Then slowly press your hips back towards your feet and begin to straighten your legs. You can have a slight bend in your knees for the first downward facing dog. You can pedal out your feet. You can go up on your toes and see if you can sink your heels down a bit more. Your head is between your arms. You're pressing your chest towards your thighs. Your hips are high. If your heels don't reach the mat, don't worry about it. Sometimes people they never will. Or eventually they'll loosen up and they'll come down to the mat. It's your practice, so wherever you're at is fine. Then inhale, look up between your hands. And on the exhale, just take baby steps. Walk your feet to your hands for forward fold. It's the first forward fold, standing forward fold, so have a slight bend in your knees. You can hold opposite elbow to opposite hand, sway from side to side. Then release your hands. Put a slight bend in your knees and inhale, slowly come up, reaching your hands up overhead. And exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, release. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana, in mountain pose. Your feet are hip distance apart, grounding through all 4 corners of your feet. Palms are facing forward, shoulder blades are back and down. Your eyes can be opened or closed, and just bring your focus back to your breath. Inhale, take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead, palms facing each other. And then palms facing out, we're going to exhale, forward fold. Take a few deep breaths here. See if you can let your head get you deeper into the fold. And inhale, slowly come up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. Now we're going to inhale, reach up, and we're going to go into chair pose. So for chair pose, your feet can be together, or to balance easier, they can be a little bit apart. It's easier to balance. So whatever's you're more comfortable with, position your feet, make sure you're grounding through your feet. Take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And on the exhale, just begin to bend your knees and reach. Your arms are at a 45-degree angle. You're engaging your core here. Your weight should be on the backs of your feet. You should be able to lift your toes here for chair pose. Really engage your thighs. Then inhale, slowly come up, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up, arms overhead, and exhale, chair. As if you're sitting in a chair, your weight's on more so on your heels, reaching out through your fingertips. Then bring your hands to heart center and just gently twist to the right. Make sure your knees are level. One knee isn't out in front of the other knee. Twisting to the right. You can stay upright, or you can bring that left elbow to the outside of that right knee. Engaging your thighs here. Pull your belly button in, engage your core. Then come back to center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Then inhale, slowly come up, reach your arms up overhead. And exhale, chair. Really reaching out through your fingertips, strong chair. Make sure your knees are level. Bring your hands to heart center and twist to the left. You can stay here upright or bring that right elbow to the outside of that left knee. You're really working the thighs here. Engage your core. Make sure your knees are level. One's not out in front of the other. Then come to center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, slowly come up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, release your arms by your side. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana, mountain pose. Focusing on your breath. And we're going to place our hands on our hips, and we're going to go into a wide-legged stance. Grounding down through your feet. Now interlace your hands behind your back. If it's uncomfortable for you to have your hands interlaced, just place them on your low back. So interlace your hands or have them on your low back, bringing your shoulder blades back. Take your gaze up for a slight back bend. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, begin to hinge forward with a flat back from your waist, and just stop halfway. And then engage your core, and try to really lengthen the spine, and then exhale, begin to forward fold. You can bring your hands down to the mat. You might have to widen your stance a little bit. See if you can let your head get you deeper into the pose. And then slowly walk your hands to your right foot and just put a slight bend in that right knee. You'll feel the stretch in the inner thigh. Then straighten that right knee, and then walk your hands to the left foot. Put a micro bend in that left knee. Feeling the stretch in the inner thighs. Then straighten that left leg. Walk your hands back to center. Then bring your hands onto your hips. Engage your core. Using your core, slowly come back up to center. Now you may have to walk your feet in a little bit. And we're going to go into Warrior Two from here. So we're going to turn our right toes towards the front of the mat. Your left foot is parallel with the back of the mat. Your hips are still facing the long side of the mat. Put a bend in that right knee. You should be able to see your big toes. Then extend your arms out, level with your shoulders, shoulder blades back and down. And take your gaze over your right hand, that right middle finger. Engaging your core, making sure your front heel is in alignment with your back, arch of your back foot for Warrior Two. Take a few deep breaths here. Make sure your stance is comfortable. You might have to shorten it or make it a little wider, whatever's comfortable for you. Make sure your back arm is level with your front arm. Then flip your right palm up, drop your back arm down, and raise that right arm up towards the sky for Reverse Warrior. Take a few deep breaths here. You still have a bend in that front knee. Then come back to Warrior Two. Now bring your right forearm to your right thigh and bring that left arm over that left ear, facing towards the right. You should have a straight line from your left fingertips to your left foot. You're not leaning into that right arm. It should be just hovering that right leg for side angle. Then come back to Warrior Two. Now we're just going to pivot on that back foot. Turn our hips forward, bringing that left arm forward, going into high lunge. Really engage in that front thigh. Pressing through the ball of that back foot. Then bring your hands to heart center and step forward to Tadasana. We'll take a few deep breaths here. Place your hands on your hips. We're going to go into a wide-legged stance again. Really ground down through your feet. And we're going to go into 5-point pose, 5-star pose. So you're grounding down through your feet, lengthening your spine, and then just extend your arms out to the sides, level with your shoulders. And you're really engaging your hands, reaching out through your fingertips here. Your arms are engaged as if you're holding up weights on your arms. You're pressing down through the soles of your feet. Your kneecaps are lifted, your legs are engaged. You're reaching out through your fingertips and then reaching out through the crown of your head for 5-point star pose. Take a few deep breaths here, keeping everything engaged. Release your arms by your side. Bring your hands to your hips, and we're just going to turn our toes out to the corners of the mat. And from here, we're going to go into goddess pose. So bend your elbows, your palms are facing forward, your arms should be level with your shoulders, palms facing forward. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, just begin to bend at the knees into goddess pose. Your knees should be following your toes, flat back, strong arms, palms facing forward. Then inhale back up to 5-point pose. Take a deep inhale and exhale, goddess. Inhale up to 5-point pose. Take a few deep breaths. And one more. Exhale, goddess. See if you can get a little bit deeper. Make sure your back is flat. You're not leaning forward. Inhale up to 5-point pose. And exhale. Release your arms by your side. Bring your hands onto your hips. We're going to go into warrior 2 on the other side. So your left toes are facing the back of the mat. Your right foot is parallel with the mat. Hips are facing forward, the long edge of the mat. Put a bend in that left knee. You should be able to see your big toe. Make sure your left heel is in alignment with your back arch. And then when you're ready, extend your arms out to the side. Opening them up, making sure your shoulder blades are back and down. Your right arm is level with the left. Take a few deep breaths here. Flip that left palm, drop your back arm, raise that left arm up towards the sky for reverse warrior. Inhale back to warrior 2, making sure there's a bend in that front knee. Then bring your left forearm to your left thigh and the right arm over your right ear. Straight line from your right fingertips all the way down to your right foot. Inhale back to warrior 2. And we're just going to pivot on that right foot, turning our hips forward. Bring your arms up for high lunge, pressing through the ball of that right foot. Then bring your hands to heart center and step forward to Tadasana. We'll take a few deep breaths here. We're going to do a balancing pose. We're going to go into tree pose. So make sure you're grounding through all 4 corners of your feet. And find a focal point, a drishti out in front of you to focus on, a stationary point. Hands are on your hips. And then just begin to shift your weight into that left foot. You can have a slight bend in that left leg. Then bring your right heel to your left ankle. You're opening up that right hip. So you can stay here and work on your arms, bringing your hands to heart center and opening up your branches. Or if you want to try to bring it to your calf or to your thigh, you just don't want to rest it on your knee. And when you find balance, bring your hands to heart center. You can bring your arms to goal post, opening up your branches. Your tree might sway a little bit. You can extend them up. Wherever you're at is fine. And just focus on that stationary point, pressing that right foot into the standing leg. Then when you're ready to come out, bring your hands to heart center, your knee forward and down. Shake out your legs. And place your hands on your hips. Find your focal point, your drishti. Begin to shift your weight into that right leg. Bring your left heel to your right ankle, opening up that right hip. And then you can bring it to your calf or to your thigh. Wherever you're at is fine. It's your practice. Then bring your hands to heart center. You can extend your branches out. You can extend them up. If you fall out of it, you can come right back into it. And bring your hands to heart center, your knee forward and down. Shake it out. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana. We're going to go down to the mat and we'll get there through squat. So you can go in to a little wider stance, and you can also turn your toes outward a bit so your knees can follow your toes. Bring your hands to heart center and take a deep inhale. Take your gaze up, and then on the exhale, just begin to bend at the knees. For squat pose, or alasana. Take a few deep breaths here. Just stop if your heels begin to lift off the mat. You're pressing your hands together. If you get all the way down, you can bring your elbows in to the insides of your knees, opening up the hips a little more. And bring your hands down to the mat, and we'll come to seated. And we'll go into staff pose. And we're just going to do one last forward fold to see if it's a little different than the beginning of practice. So make sure you're grounded through your sit bones. Elongate your spine. Engage your core, bring your belly button in. Take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, just begin to walk your hands towards your feet. Keeping a flat back as long as you can. And exhale, begin to fold. With each inhale, you can come up a little bit. And on the exhale, see if you can get a little bit deeper into the fold. You're trying to breathe into that low back, releasing the tension in that low back. And slowly walk your hands back to center. And we're going to come onto our backs. So slowly lowering down to the mat. Hug your knees into your chest. You can rock from side to side. And place your feet flat on the mat, hip distance apart. Getting your feet as close to your glutes as you can. See if you can touch them with your fingertips, the heels of your feet. Make sure your knees are facing forward. Your palms are flat on the mat next to you. And tuck your shoulder blades under. And we're going to go into bridge pose. So on the inhale, press into your soles of your feet, palms of your hands. Begin to lift your hips up towards the sky. And when you get up there, tuck your shoulder blades under a little more. See if you can walk your feet towards your shoulders a little more. You can go up onto your toes. You can interlace your fingers behind your back if you want. This is the opposite direction of what we're everyday movement. We are normally going forward. So this is a great stretch for the spine. Then release your hands, come back to the soles of your feet, and slowly lower down towards the mat. Hug your knees into your chest, rock from side to side. Place your feet flat on the mat with your knees bent. Bring your right ankle over your left knee. And just gently press on that right thigh, opening that right hip. And then begin to raise that left leg up, interlace your fingers behind that left thigh, and raise your left foot up towards the sky. Keeping that right hip open, your feet are flexed here, and that right hip is open. You're pulling that left leg in towards your chest, feeling the stretch in that right hip. This is called reclined pigeon. Then release your hands, bring that left foot back down to the mat. Extend your arms out to the sides. Take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, begin to roll onto your left hip, bringing that right foot down to the mat, and taking your gaze over your right hand. Keeping your shoulder blades flat on the mat. Then slowly come back up to center. Bring your hands back by your side. Bring that right foot down to the mat. Bring your left ankle over your right knee and gently press on that left thigh, opening up that left hip. Then begin to raise that right leg towards you. Interlace your fingers behind that right thigh. Keeping your feet flexed, extend that right foot up to the sky. Keeping that left hip open and hugging that right leg in towards your body. Then release your hands, bring that right foot back down to the mat. Extend your arms out to the sides. Take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, begin to roll onto that right hip, bringing that left foot down to the mat and taking your gaze over your left fingertips. Take a few deep breaths here.
come back up to center. Bring your hands back by your side. Release your foot down to the mat. We're going to bring the soles of our feet together and just let your knees fall out to the sides of the mat for recline bound angle pose. Now you can stay here for Shavasana, keeping your arms away from your body, your palms facing up, or you can extend your feet, your legs long on the mat, and let your feet fall out to the corners of the mat. And gently close your eyes and just bring your focus to your breath. Breathing in and out through your nose. Feeling your chest rise and fall on the inhale and exhale. Focusing on the area by your nostrils, you'll feel the cool air as you inhale, nourishing the body. And then on the exhale, the warm air is cleansing the body. Relaxing the shoulders, the arms, letting go of any tension you're feeling, any gripping. Relaxing the forehead, the eyes, removing your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Putting movement back in the body, begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Move your head from side to side. And when you're ready, roll onto your favorite side. With your eyes closed, come up to seated position. Hands at heart center, thumbs at your sternum. Slate bow to your head. Every day you step onto your mat, it's a new day, a new start, a new beginning. Thank you for sharing your practice with me this morning. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you everybody for sharing the practice with me today. If you have any questions or any ideas, just send us a message and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And I'd like to thank all of you who have sent Christmas cards for the season. Thank you so much. And we really enjoy having the class with all of you. Have a great day. Namaste.